preparing.
It feels so dark in here.
We are live, but don't talk yet. Alrighty. Hello, we are live. We should probably have music. I feel like we need to have music intro, musical intro. Anyhow, hey everybody, welcome. It is Wellness Wednesday. It's time for your happy, healthy half hour. Healthy, happy half hour. I came up with that and I can never say it right. Anyhow, so I'm Allie. I'm here with my good friend Carrie. We are functional nutritionists who love to dive into all of these things, health, diet, and lifestyle related, that can help you answer some questions that you've been wondering yourself, or some things that you've been stuck on. And this is a great place to ask those questions, and we try to answer them through the lens through which we see everything, which is kind of outside the box. It's a different way of looking things, a lot of yes and that is kind of what we're going to be talking about today, which is you're working with a doctor, a practitioner, you heard somebody on TikTok, they said to do this and you will feel better. Eat this recipe and this will change your life. This will solve all of your gut health problems. This will make your brain work. This will, whatever it is, make your skin beautiful. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And you do the thing and you have a reaction to it. Uh-oh, you're not feeling so good, or your skin breaks out, or it didn't work. So what is it? Is it bad advice? Is it something's going on with you? Is there something else going on? What's the deal? And I kind of alluded to, there's a little bit of yes and it depends. So that's how I'm going to kick it off. Carrie, what say you on this sort of tricky and sometimes controversial topic?
Yeah. I almost think we should need an example to
Okay.
a little bit, because I need context to apply it. It's hard to, take in the abyss. So
Okay. All right.
sometimes, like when I would always put somebody on B Supreme as a sort of foundational place to start with supplements.
Is a particular B complex by Designs for Health. They call it B Supreme. So there are other B complexes. This is one in particular that has been very popular in our functional nutrition world.
Exactly. And generally people feel better, but every once in a while you get somebody who feels worse. Mm-hmm. So I've unpacked it to be like generally the methylfolate, maybe the B12, methyl B12, and it's not, they're having a reaction doesn't mean that they don't need it. It probably means that they need it more, but they're not ready for it. There's something going on in the body where their body, it's just not ready for that yet. It's too much for them. Maybe they're sensitive or something else. And so I'll pull it out. And then we have to unwind what's going on. And again, that can be, you can have reactions from methylfolate, like insomnia, irritability, acne, lockjaw, any kind of number of things, especially when you only put one thing in at a time. So that's always one of the practices I think that we both do, which is we're not going to dump a bunch of new things in at one time. We kind of I think of it like peeling the onion in reverse, right? We're going to layer on an onion. Okay, how do you do with that? Okay, now there's the next layer. Okay, how do you do with that? And here's the next layer. And how do you do with that?
Like a rainbow is what you're describing.
Oh, like a rainbow. Oh, I like the rainbow. We're going to build a rainbow. I'm going to use that now. It's better than onions, because onions is good if you're peeling it. But when you're building
you want more of a magical rainbow, beautiful magical rainbow. Yeah, I like that. And I like that example too, because the B vitamins are ones that almost everybody needs, because the more stressed you are, the more gut dysfunction you have. It's one of the vitamins that you are most depleted.
Yes.
You quickly use it up.
Because it's water soluble too.
Yeah.
And every cell in your body needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's not that you don't need B. It's exactly, that was such a perfect example. It's just that a complex is too complex for you
Mhm.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that example.
Yeah.
And it can be something, so that's a supplement. And well, and so just staying on the supplement topic,
Mhm.
oftentimes there are blends for different reasons, for hormones, for brain health, for gut health, because there's all of these different herbs and botanicals and nutrients that synergistically work together for healing. And they're amazing, and they're all amazing, and it's clean and ethically sourced and the whole blah, blah. And sometimes it's just that it's too much. And you
Exactly.
might be reacting to one of those ingredients. And so in that case, you have to step back and go, okay, well, what is the thing that we're trying to change? What are we trying to shift here? Okay, so it's hormones, it's the estrogen dominance. So maybe we want to just do a single ingredient dang quai instead of all of the things
Yes.
that are in it.
Exactly.
Right? So switching to a single ingredient. And so, oftentimes it's more bang for your buck. You get one that's, can you hear that? The
Yeah.
sound? No? Okay, good. I'll
Yeah.
pretend that that's not happening.
Okay.
Big dumpsters going.
Oh.
But it's more, I often like a blend because you don't have to take 1,000 different supplements.
Right. But
However, if you're
sensitive,
reacting to, what's that?
I said, yeah, if you're sensitive or reactive, you
Yeah,
just got to do one at a time.
one at a time. And maybe you don't need all of them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, some of them are just bonus, and maybe, but figure out which are the ones, like the targeted ones. Okay, we really want to have this ashwagandha. So let's just do ashwagandha. And maybe we do it in a tincture and not in a supplement, because also that's another thing, delivery method.
Yes. Well, it's so
Right.
funny. As soon as the first thing that popped in my mind when you said tincture is alcohol. And I was like, oh, alcohol, ding, ding, ding. Because a lot of times you hear people reacting to ashwagandha, right? And so I was like, I wonder what that is. Well, a lot of times it comes in a tincture form, which is alcohol based.
That's a good point. And so if you have, let's say, a gut infection, candida or something, you're going to be reacting to that. Meanwhile, it's the ashwagandha that you need that's going to be helping with it's an adaptogen. So it's going to help you cope with the infection, with help with the imbalances, the stressors. That's what it helps you cope with stress. But also really good for those middle of the night wake ups, having like a hormonally related wake up. Yeah, so that's a really good point. The delivery method. And some people can't tolerate, like iron, for instance. Iron is something that so many people are deficient in because of input or because of absorption, lack thereof. And so, but a lot of times taking an oral supplement, it backs them up.
Yeah.
They're constipated or they're uncomfortable, like they don't feel well after taking it. And so switching to something that's either like a chewable or a liquid can be better. Then, of course, you can always go for like IV, but you're a fan of the IVs.
Yeah. Not anymore. I was. For a while, I was pretty obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's certain things that you'll notice that there's usually what they do are very like water soluble, safe. There's very specific nutrients that they'll inject through IV. Others they won't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but the delivery method, for people who are super iron deficient, sometimes you need to go IV because that's the only way that you're going to get it. And you have to have those infusions. Right. So, delivery. So we talked about breaking up the ingredients, delivery method. What would be a third reason why you might be reacting to something?
Let's say your liver. Actually, the function, let's just start with the toxicity of your liver, right? So you have to be able to have those, they call it phase 1 and phase 2 of liver detoxification, right? Where you have to grab the thing and you make it water soluble first, and then you get rid of it. And if you're not able to do both those pieces, then they're going to react. right? And so that's why, and a lot of, especially anything that's methylation related is related to the liver. So that's what I think about. It's like the liver can be it can be sort of sluggish and not functioning optimally. It can be filled with toxins, filled with pathogens. It's responsible. I think of it, what I've been thinking about the liver lately is it's like, how your brain controls your nervous system to some degree.
Yeah.
Not that it can go the other way around, but I feel like your liver is really the whole manager of your whole digestive system, really, because it regulates your stomach acid and your bile flow, right? Because it makes the bile flow, but it actually contains a lot of lymph too. So it's really kind of an important organ. Like, because remember what we learned in whole body systems is that it's the only organ that will grow back. If you
Isn't
cut
that amazing? Wait, just for those who are watching live or on the replay, you have to, I've talked about this, but if you don't know, because we know that, well, sorry, I almost went off on a whole like plants versus animals. But if you lose a body part, if you lose a limb, we don't regenerate. We're not worms. We don't regenerate, right? But your liver does. You can lose up to 90% of your liver. That's how freaking bomb diggity important this organ is. You can lose up to 90% of it and it will still function for you. So the fact that we don't appreciate our liver, and honestly, I never, until I went to nutrition school, honestly, I never thought of anything about the liver except for alcohol. Joke. I used to drink a lot. And we used to drink about, the damage I'm doing to my liver. Have another shot,
Right.
It's so much more than that. Like, yes, you can really hurt yourself drinking,
right.
But, I was young and dumb. But it does so much more. It's responsible for cholesterol production, hormone regulation, detoxification. I mean, there's like 300 things that it does that your liver does. So, love on your liver. Love on your liver.
So that's, to me, that's the thing that I go ding, 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 ding. When there's reactions, people aren't doing well, can't come off their benzos, can't, reacting to B vitamins. I'm like, whoa, what's up with your liver? Let's start there.
Yeah. And so that brings us back to, it's not, because we can also be defensive when we go to somebody for support and they recommend something that doesn't work. And then suddenly it's like, well, that didn't work. And so that thing is wrong. You're wrong. And you don't know what you're talking about. And like, this sucks. And it's like, hold on. Okay. Yes, it might not be the right thing for you. That's, before I make this point, sometimes there's different brands or different formulations of the same thing.
Yes.
Works better for one person. That's just why I don't subscribe to just one brand. I think it's really important to have a multitude of, because just sometimes I think I've worked with, I'm tangenting here, but I'll come back around. Like the elemental diet, and I've had people react poorly. I've had people do great with the integrative therapeutics, elemental diet, but then some people do not. And so I've said, okay, let's do a homemade version. You make it yourself, and then no problem.
Oh, where'd you get that? No, now I have to go off on a tangent. Where'd you get the recipe for homemade?
Yeah, I got the recipe from Dr. Allison Samon, who's my SIBO mentor.
Cool.
And happy to share that if you want it.
Oh,
but so it's very involved. There's a lot of ingredients, but you can make it yourself. And so, like B Supreme, there's other. So when I had issues with B Supreme with some people, I would switch to Quicksilver. Quicksilver has a version. What's that?
Liposomal?
Yeah. And that worked really well. And so those are kind of the two that I go back and forth, depending on the person, what's going on for them. It tastes terrible is what I'm told, but it works immediately. So, some people can't handle the taste. So
it's into the cell and doesn't, interesting. I haven't heard that as an option.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to go through that first pass metabolism. So
Yeah.
it's right in, and they
Yeah.
get that like, whoop, my brain is online.
Does that mean it's bypassing the liver?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, because it goes right
right
in.
into the cell. That's the whole liposomal technology, right?
Mhm.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Even I learned something today.
Yeah, I always learn something from you. So yay, I'm glad I can
Hmm.
impart some wisdom. But now I've lost the thread. I thought I was coming back
Sorry.
around. No,
Elemental diet.
it was
I
about what's that?
was trying to bring you back around. Elemental diet.
Elemental diet, right? That there could be a different version of the same thing, but what got me there? There was another thing. Oh, about this doesn't work, and you're not, you don't,
Oh,
I don't trust you anymore. It's backing it up to see, okay, well, where is it that your body needs more support? It's not that you don't need these B vitamins. It's not that you don't need an elemental diet. It's not that you don't need iron or whatever, fill in the blank, recipe, supplement, or whatever. It comes back to, where does your body need more support? Where can we give more attention? Like your liver. Maybe we have to do other cleanup first and start simpler and go slower. Going more slowly sometimes it's just slower, but it's easier.
right.
In the long run, it's easier. It feels more painful, but it's actually easier.
But if you're unraveling knots in a necklace, right, you have to go slow. You have to be very precise and go slow. It's just how it has to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, when you're trying, I always think trying new things is a good thing, but you do have to take it with a grain of salt, and you have to be open and not just freak out. Now, of course, there are some reactions that are like, what would be a reaction that it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't right for you?
I don't know. Right now, I'm like back it way up kind of thing, even with food. Right. So like I have a client and she put in a certain smoothie or, a green juice or something, and she had a strong reaction, had like severe diarrhea. I'm like, okay, look at, instead of stopping, let's back it way up and just move forward slowly. So I used to take, oh, that's it, pull it out. And sometimes when like, depending on where they are, like if like on a new client, when they've got a lot going on and they're taking a lot, and it's all like the muddy bucket, I'm like, okay, let's pull everything out. Let's start over one at a time, put things in one at a time. So that way you could see how they're reacting. So it kind of just depends on the scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will sometimes I will pull things out. Sometimes it's just my instinct, to be honest. But if it's something that they need, but they don't need it yet, again, it depends on what it is and where it is in the process, because again, if we're going foundational and building on that foundation to build the thing, I don't want to add something else in up here if we need the foundational thing. So it might be, especially, well, what I've learned so like in the case of B Supreme, I would actually pull it out and put it in a different one. So that's kind of where I would do something different. But now with one, if I actually have people even react to B minus, which doesn't have any methyls in it. And so like I've got somebody right now putting it in, she reacts. So I go, okay, let's just like, I'll have her like open the capsule and take out a pinch. And so that's kind of what I like to do, is just do that. But then again, it's tricky because they have to be consistent, because if they're messing with a lot of different things at one time, then it gets a little bit, again, muddy bucket. And so you're like, okay, wait, what messed up what, right? Where do we need to start? Because really people can react to food. Like this particular client that reacted to the B stuff, she literally I said, okay, put in smoothies, I gave her a bunch of different recipes. She goes, oh, okay, I had the apple cinnamon smoothie and I totally reacted. I'm like, that's interesting, but she eats apples regularly, but 2 apples was too much. But 1 apple was okay. So I encouraged her to play with your food. I go, I'm going to invite you, because she was so scared and she didn't know what to go. And so I was really been guiding her on her intuition and really feeling her body, because she gets all these messages from all these other people. And I'm like, no, I want you to listen to your body. What does your body say? Really pay attention, because maybe 1 apple's okay. Maybe she thinks a green apple is okay and not a red apple. And I go, okay, then try that, right? But then try it, you switch it around sometime. And then, because apple, think about it, really, apple is a good, healthy food, right? An apple a day. So if it's not, what's going on in there if an apple's not working?
Right. I love that the dose sometimes is it.
Even a food dose is huge.
Sometimes you can have a tolerance. Like I have a client who she can tolerate eggs. She can have 2, but not 3. 3 puts her over the edge. 2 is fine. And I was like, well, who needs more than 2? 2 is fine. Right. But a 3-egg omelet, she couldn't do. If she had the whole thing, it just wouldn't be good. Like 3
Remember
eggs.
her reaction?
I don't actually. I think it's she has a lot. She has some disordered eating. She also has anhedonia, so she doesn't get pleasure from things like in life.
Oh.
So she can sometimes seem like an Eeyore, and she's the loveliest lady. And yet it comes out like this anhedonia where it's just like nothing is okay. I'll do it. It's like nothing is pleasurable. And yet she could, like, apples is something she could have like 6 or 8 apples, which is too much.
Yeah.
She cannot, like, she can just keep eating it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if the eggs was that she could just keep I don't think it was that she could just keep eating. I don't actually remember what the reaction was.
Just because I see it now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it, but I see a lot of people reacting to eggs. A lot of people. So that could be like the SIBO-ish symptoms, abdominal issues, could be sinusy issues. I've got a colleague that's through Julie Matthews, and she's complaining about her allergies. But she thinks that she needs, because she's low oxalate, she thinks she needs to have dairy in there. And I'm like, I don't think the dairy should be in there. And then eggs too. I'm like, I don't think the eggs should be in there. But
dairy helps oxalates, but dairy doesn't help your gut.
Well, and dairy doesn't really help the oxalates, to be honest. Well, they say the calcium does, but it's very specific form of calcium citrate.
Right.
And again, that was just in the studies. I think there's this craving for dairy when you take out the oxalates, because that's what I remember is like, oh, okay, I want to bring the dairy back in.
I thought it was that some people realize that they have an oxalate problem once they like switch from milk to non-dairy.
That's possible too.
Dairy is helping to escort it out. And so it was like it. And then you go to non-dairy and then suddenly you're like, ow, that doesn't feel good.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? But I think that's a different issue when people are like, they do go pull out all the oxalates too much, too fast, or they switching to paleo is interesting because I think we talked about this last time, right? Where you're switching from one diet to the next. It's important to know where you came from.
Yeah.
Where you are. But when you switch to, like, if you were to switch from standard American diet to paleo, you might be like making your breads and all your things and just going haywire on almond flour, right? And having just way too many nuts and seeds, right? Too much fat, too much, all those things at once. And then you might associate that with an oxalate. You think, oh, that must be an oxalate problem. But I try not to look at it so globally. I try to back it up and be like, well, let's think about this, right? Almonds are good food, but you also went from this to this, right? So where they came from makes a huge difference, and how long they were on that, right? Like my super sensitive reactive lady, I think her liver wasn't doing well before. Some other practitioner put her on carnivore for 3 years.
Ooh.
I know. So it's very hard on the liver, right? It's very high fat, very high protein when your liver's not working. And so she wasn't already able to get rid of the benzos, right? She was on the benzos for a short period of time and just started dealing with withdrawal symptoms ever since. And so I'm like, we literally have to like flip the switch on this and go literally almost tons of fruits and vegetables, veganish, right? We really like, I think of the same principles like a cleanse or a detox, right? You've run cleanses or detoxes, right?
Totally.
You're like, okay, we need to just like lots of fruits and vegetables and lemon and beets and like all those things are what your liver loves. I always say liver loves lemon. So all those cleaning out kind of things and your green juices and things like that.
Yeah. And all of it, it's short term. Like even when you're doing a cleanse or a detox, it's short term. If you're doing some kind of extreme diet, it should be short term, not 3 years, not 6 years, 6 weeks, right? Or less.
Right. So now she's got all this buildup, like her liver was already a mess. Now she's got this, and it was keeping some things at bay, but other things it was making worse, right? It was like, it was weird. It was like it was managing certain things, but I'm like, so, you know, when you're trying to unravel that, it can be painful, right? She's like, you know, this is better and this is better, but this isn't still good, or this got worse when this got better, you know? And so then you're like, you really have to develop that therapeutic relationship and that partnership with someone and that trust, because they're like, I'm asking you to do things then you're not going to hear other places that might not feel right. And if you look at Dr. Google and you ask your TikTok friend and you're like, whatever, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? That's not good. You need fat, you know? And I'm like, no. So I actually do have her on a long-term, low-grade sort of detox cleanse, right? So, you know, even though ideally a detox or whatever would be short, I'm sort of flipping it on its head, but it's getting better. So.
Yeah. There is, and you said it, there's an order to things. You can't just jump from A to G because, well, you know, this or there's an infection, so let's go get it. If your body is not ready to handle it, if you don't have the liver that's functioning optimally, hello, bug. If your gut, it cannot absorb nutrients, you can't go onto a kill. An extreme detox,
right?
You're already depleted. You're already not functioning, and so there's that's why it's not working.
That's why I always tell people. I said we're here. That's why what we do as functional nutritionists is we help the body heal so that the body can fight the pathogens and your body can detoxify and your body can do all those things. You just have to put things in at a time, right? Like I would never, like you said, go into a kill when your body isn't ready, because then you're just going to keep having to kill it because your body is going to keep fighting it.
That's exactly why so many people go on candida kills over and over again, SIBO kills all over again. Gosh, I mean, there's so many different pathogens and archaea and like just things that are in your organisms that are in your microbiome that can overgrow for a variety of reasons. And you're just going to keep having that same problem if you don't start with that foundation, build that foundation. So if you're reacting to something basic that you generally need, like a B vitamin, then, or like an innocuous food, then like you said, unwind, back it up. Let's see, where is this coming from? So we can build that foundation and then be more ready for a kill, ready to handle, because then you're going to war. You can't go to war with armor. Oh, you have to be strong and resilient because you're going to be wiped out. It's going to suck your energy. You're not going to, and then, you know, you're going to have some people lose weight when they're doing a kill because they're not absorbing things well, having a lot of diarrhea. Like that's all normal as part of that process. And you know why? Because you're bringing in killing agents. You know, there's literally a war going on. But in your day-to-day, you don't want to have a war. You want to do whatever you can to calm the immune system, stop the inflammation that's chronic, and build that foundation so that you are stronger, have a stronger immune system so that this is cycling again.
Even a kill, right? Even if you're using an herbal kill, right? That might be too much for the liver to deal with. If the liver's not working, it can't break down and get rid of it. It still has to be able to break down and get rid of it. It's still the like trash man, right? I guess that's it.
Right. Otherwise it's just there. Like you have to get it out. Anything that goes in has to come out.
Right.
So everything gets processed. There's always waste. Like even the good stuff, there's
Right.
still waste products from the breaking it down process.
Yes.
It all has to be eliminated. And that's part of the big problem that so many of us has is we're not eliminating
Exactly.
properly. If we're
Right.
constipated, it's all just festering around.
And even if you are pooping every day, let's clarify, or we can go down a whole, maybe that's the next topic of conversation. But if you're pooping every day, it doesn't mean you're not constipated, because it has to come all out. And just because you're pooping every day, is it enough? Is it the speed that it needs to go? Like there's a lot of clues there that might not be, oh, I'm not constipated. You know, and do you
That
feel
is
constipated?
going to be the topic for next week. Writer downer. That is what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about poop, baby. So we'll do that next week, because we can definitely go for another hour. And but we are at our half hour, and I'm happy to go longer if you guys have questions and you want to work on anything, Q&A, anything, ask us anything. Happy to, but right now we're at our 30 minutes. So with that, I want to thank you, Carrie, for being here, and everybody live or on the replay. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful week. I hope that you will look at anything that's not going well, any recommendation that's not going well, through a different lens, and think about what else might be going on. Get curious instead of that didn't work. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Get curious about what could really be going on and how you can shift things rather than just throw it out the window and start again. Because our approach is not spaghetti on the wall. There's a rhyme or reason why we're doing it. Right?
Yeah.
So, and why you're having reactions. So I hope that this has been helpful. Comment below or invite someone into the group so that they can see this video. And with that, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Ciao.